Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Benny back with Roll and Write Revolution. This is our game Carnivorous. So this is a game that's based with dominoes, and it's, of course, dominoes to generate the action instead of just traditionally dice. We actually use dice in this game also, and some sort of a player marker. In this case, we have a couple of meeples. I think I dug them out of a Carcassonne game or other. So this game plays 1 to 4 players. In the solo game, it's a little bit different because you actually play against the plant. There's a little bit of an AI. In the multiplayer game, you play as essentially collaboratively with the other players to build a shop out of dominoes. So you're actually going to be placing dominoes, as such. They can go a maximum of 4, right, like that, and you can lay them on top of each other and so forth. It's 4 each way, so you could do 4 like that, and that would be the extent of our shop. And so you're building a shop kind of cooperatively in a sense with the other players, and then you're actually going to be able to score each level of the shop. So this level of the shop, 1 and 4 would score. Down here, you're looking for majority. So right now, 2 and 4 are the majority. And so anything you have here on your player sheet is actually going to be a multiplier for endgame scoring. Any of the flowers that you've played, 1 through 6, that match the values 1 through 6, that are flowers in the shop, are going to be that. So we're going to start off with 3 dominoes per player. I have 3 dominoes over here to this player. And so you can do a couple different things on your turn. Let's look at our page up here. You are, each turn there will be 2 customers available, so 6 and 4. The customers can be used a couple different ways. Traditionally, as roll and writes, you can use them to fill in on your sheet. You can use them to feed the plant in the shop. So as you'll see, we're going to build a shop as well as working our own player sheet. So feeding the plant in the shop, a customer, or feeding it with an assistant, that's these guys. They're cloned, so no worries about anything happening to them. And you've got 5 to start with. You can actually get 5 more over the course of the game. Even though it has 6, you max out at 5. Every time you use up an assistant, you're X them out to show that they have been devoured, basically, by our carnivorous plants. So they it's somewhat it's a little bit of a worker placement where you put the shop assistant either in the shop, or you put them on your sheet to indicate what you're doing that turn. And if your assistant happens to be in the shop because they don't come back until you're ready to move them again, opponents can actually feed your assistant to the plants in the shop, which will cause you to lose an assistant, but you'll gain also for feeding the plant because it was your assistant that was eaten, as well as the opponent doing it. If you feed your own assistant at the shop, you still only get one mark on your track here. You have a 6 track, the first, or it's 1, 3, and 5. When you mark them out, don't do anything, but on 2, 4, and 5, you do get a benefit. The green die is treated as though it were a customer, so you get basically free customer action. The red, you can feed a different plant in a different row, or the green, of course, you get a shop assistant. So those are some things to look forward to in this game. Each turn, you can either play dominoes from your hand to the shop. You can use dominoes from your hand to build out your greenhouse here. You're actually going to be creating vines. So you create kind of a T shape with each vine, or you can add a flower. Once you've already started to grow a vine, you can add a flower to any side that has a vine growing in it. You have to make sure you keep your vines from each plant separate from each other. Just keep that in mind. So the flowers, as you can see, the 1 through 4 or 1 through 6, they all have shapes, either open or filled. As you draw them in, they actually take up a whole space in your greenhouse. So you can't draw onto the pots, but those are the only spaces you can't draw on. You can draw on all the rest of the spaces as you need to. So we do have our handy dandy dominoes. So let's take a quick crack at a first turn. So you're going to actually do 2 things on your turn. You can plant a flower in the shop. So that would be taking a domino, laying it in the shop, however orientation you want. So I'm going to move my sheet down here so you can actually see that. So we'll place this one here. If I wanted to, I could place another flower in the shop. I have to try to match numbers if possible. But if you're going to say if we've done that, and at least we've matched one, that's fine. When you place a domino on top, you don't have to match numbers, you can just place it on top. But you can't place it directly over the top of one other domino, you have to place it across two in such fashion or other. Okay, so that's something just to be careful with. So we've played a domino to the shop, adding to our flower shop here. We can also grow a vine in our greenhouse, so we would then reveal our domino. We would say, oh yeah, I want to use the 6, so I'm going to draw a vine from the 6, or I could do a 1 or a 2 or a 4. I have a 4. I could also use one of these guys, one of the customers, to feed to this plant that I've now played in the shop. I could use my 4. Be like, oh yeah, here we go. That plant ate that customer. And then I would mark on the 4 in my greenhouse down here. So you can see flowers, I would mark the first pot out, right? Gradually getting towards those bonuses. So that actually seems like a really good first move. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and X out that pot. So that is it for my first turn. Of course, drawing back, you have to draw back to have 3 dominoes. With 2 players, we do recommend you play with about 14 dominoes. Once the domino supply is out, that's going to trigger the end of the game. So here we'll go ahead and draw our other player sheet over. They also have 3 dominoes to start. They have a worker as well. They get new customers each time. So we have a 6 and a 3. Okay. That actually doesn't match up with anything in the shop, but they could, if they wanted to use a customer to place a flower in their own shop, right? So that could be something that they do. So customers have a couple uses there. Dominoes, of course, you can use them to make a vine. You can use them to make flowers, or also expand the shop. So let's see. Oh, I placed my guy in the shop. All right, so my guy was in the shop. That was where he landed. This player does have a 4, so they could feed my assistant to the plant. That may not be a bad idea. It's another in-game trigger as well. If the player runs out of assistants, that would trigger the end of the game also. Okay, because you have to have assistants. Cloned ones at that, but it's actually not a bad move. Let's go ahead and do that. So we'll spend the 4. Feed this guy to the plant. He goes out of here. On my sheet, the first sheet, we're going to X out that guy. So now we have 4 possible assistants we can gradually use up. We'll mark out the next one. I get a dice action with that. This guy also has another turn. So he can use, let's use this 3. We'll use this customer to create a vine here from the pot, which is the 3. 3 is a triangle here. So we create a vine that touches from the pot to the next side, and then we can draw T one direction or the other, but you're not drawing a full 4T, it's a T like that. Okay. So that player has used their 2 turns. Give them another domino. All right, bring them back. There we go. All right, back to my first player here with their 1, 2, 3 domino. So we did draw a domino this last time. Have my assistant back. New customers. As you can see, down a hired assistant or a cloned assistant. So now we need to do something useful. I do have that dice action. I could use that since I did get that from having my worker so generously fed to the plant. It's actually not a bad idea. So I will use that. Go ahead and X that out the rest of the way. Really, we should circle it when you get it and then X it out when you've used it. So we'll just X it out. So I can use that as any die value. So I had an extra customer that showed up. We're going to add a vine. I like a 1. I'm going to do a 1 for a vine. Why not? Because I have a 1 here in the shop. And for my next trick, I'm actually going to add to the shop. Get another domino happening here in the shop. Right. So now, with majority for the end game. So this is, right now the 1s are going to be really good. So I've added the vine and the 1. So I'm going to try to add flowers with this action. So I still have one more action I can do. I have no more ones. There's no one customer. So put my dude over here. So he created that plant for me. I think the next thing I would like to do is place another domino in the shop. This may not be a great idea, but now I'm going to add a 4. Actually move my guy over where I put the domino. So as though the shop assistant were the one to place the plant for me. So I've used 2 dominoes. I draw back 2 more. Okay. And now this guy's turn is done. Back to player 2, who gets a new set of customers. And roll those 1 and 3. And this guy has been doing something here with looks like a 3. We got a 3 domino. We're going to go ahead and use the 3 again with this guy. So we'll go ahead and show the 3. Using the 3 to craft a flower. So we're going to draw a big round, nice big round flower over here. Feel a little Bob Ross today. It's good. It's a good thing. So with our shop, this guy's looking at, well, I know I took a 1 for this guy over here, and it looks like I might do some flowers over there. If the 1s are super good, maybe it's better to put more 1s in the shop. Or, because we started doing a 3 with flowers, maybe we can use this 3 from the customer. Go ahead and send that customer to a happy life elsewhere. I'm going to actually expand the vine. Oops. Expand the vine this way. Sorry. Did that wrong. There we go. Because if I'd put a flower here, that would end essentially that vine, and I wouldn't be able to grow any further. Okay, so that would be my 2 actions for that player. Back to our other player here. We're going to do just a couple more turns so you guys can kind of see what's going on. Bring this guy back. He was not eaten this time, thankfully. Start getting shop assistants eaten. It's not great. Or he's eating customers. That's not great for business either. Apparently, I mean, you guys probably have seen the musical or the film, based on a short story. I don't remember who the author was, but somebody quite famous back in the day. It wasn't Hemingway. It's one of those guys. Anyway, so this guy is looking at some different options. He thought 1 seemed like a good idea. 1 does still seem like a good idea to him because he does have this other 1 domino. So we'll go ahead and add this to our shop as such. That. Ta-da. Okay. So there's one of our moves. Could have added the other way. Just going for aesthetics. So there's 1 there, and then not a 1s, but I've got 4s and 5s. Had a pretty good run here with the 4s. We'll go ahead and feed that customer. Put my shop assistant out here. Go ahead and feed that to the plant. So that's going to X out another one of my pots here on line 4. All right, so get back another domino. All right, back to this guy over here. He's collecting another domino. For all intents and purposes for the shop, the blanks have no value. You can place them next to anything. It's fine. When you use them out here, they don't really do anything. They don't really have a purpose. But out here, they just kind of create space, but they don't have to necessarily be next to another blank. So we were talking about 1 being good. We were talking about 2 being good. Eating shop assistants being good. Let's take a number 2. So we got 1, 2, 3 1s, 2 4s. Let's actually put this one on top. I'll put that on top here. So we're actually starting a new layer in the shop. The shop actually can get quite tall, especially when you play with 4 players. Or if you wanted to with 2 players, you could actually play with a full set of dominoes. And the shop then does become quite large. And each time you're scoring a layer, you actually score majority. So right now 6 and 1 are both majority for that purpose. So there's another addition to our shop. And I think we're going to use R2. It's R2. I'll put that over here. I have to draw some more numbers. We're going to do that for a vine. So I can't actually run that into my 3 because there's a flower already there. So we'll do it like that. It's like I have a trend with these flowers here. So that is their 2 actions. These guys get 2 more dice, or 2 more dominoes. Of course, back to first guy. His little worker comes back, his assistant. Roll dice again. These are our customers for the round. For this player, as I mentioned, you roll them each time for every player. So this guy's thinking 1's pretty good. No 1s, no 1s. So 1's not very good for him right now. But it is pretty good at the bottom of the shop. And we do know that there's a 6 and a 4. Once some numbers have been covered up, you actually cannot look at those again. You have to try to remember what's there. So it may be a strategy to bury dominoes. I actually shouldn't put this here like that because it creates a void, and then the void is perpetually there because you can't stack a domino over the void because it falls. So actually going to do it like so. So our 6s are good touching. There we go. That's nice. Gives them something to do, right? And then we can actually feed a customer to the 6. Since we have plenty of 6s, 6s seem good. So we'll go ahead and mark out our flower part on 6. Okay, there we go. This guy gets another domino. He gets some 1s. Good job, fella. Over here, back to the 3s. Ooh, I like 3s, this guy says. Here's his 3. He's going to do another flower. Keep in mind, these are multipliers, right? And so if 3 has no majority, it's actually going to score 0. It's 3 times 0 is 0. So he's going to try to need to get some 3s going on as a majority. As we noticed over here, 1 and 6 and 4 are pretty handy. I think there was other 1s. There's 2 1s, 2 4s, 2 6s, a 5. I'm actually going to put this in the shop as a 3. Right, so again, going over 2 of the dominoes. So that is the end of the turn. And so that's how the game works. Thank you guys for checking out Carnivorous.